The Betting Wife. My name is Daniel Miller. I am 35 years old. I live in a small town in Arizona with my wife, Rachel. Rachel and I have been married for 8 years. When we first met, she was full of life, always laughing, always curious. She loved cooking, gardening, and painting. But over the last 2 years, something changed. It started when Rachel's father died. She was very close to him, and after he passed away, she felt lost. To distract herself, she began playing small games online, bingo, card games, little apps on her phone. At first, it was harmless. I didn't think much of it. She would play for a few minutes while dinner was cooking or while she waited for me to come home from work. Then, little by little, the games became more important to her. One night, I came home and found her sitting at the kitchen table. Her eyes were locked on her laptop screen. She didn't even look up when I walked in. "Hey," I said, putting down my bag. "How was your day?" "Fine," she mumbled without turning around. I looked closer and saw that she was playing an online betting game. It wasn't for fun anymore. She was betting real money. "How long have you been playing that?" I asked carefully. She sighed. "Just a little while." "Rachel, it's almost 9 o'clock. Did you have dinner?" She rubbed her eyes and closed the laptop. "I'll make something now." But I could see it in her face. She didn't want to stop. Over the next few weeks, Rachel spent more and more time on those betting websites. Sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night and find her in the living room, staring at the screen. The glow of the monitor lit up her tired face. I tried to talk to her. "Rachel, you need to take a break." "I'm fine," she insisted. "It's just something to help me relax." But it didn't look relaxing. She seemed tense all the time, worried about the next game, the next bet, the next chance to win. One Friday evening, I came home from work early. I wanted to surprise her with dinner. I picked up her favorite, spicy noodles from the Thai place down the street. When I walked through the door, she was sitting at the table again. The laptop was open, and her hands were shaking. "What's wrong?" I asked. I lost," she whispered. "Lost what?" She swallowed hard. $500. My heart sank. "Rachel, $500? I thought I could win it back," she said in a small voice. I was so close. I set the food down and sat across from her. "We can't afford this. We have bills, rent, the car payment." "I know," she said, her eyes filling with tears. "I don't know why I keep doing it." I reached for her hand. "We'll figure this out. But you have to stop." She nodded. But even then, I wasn't sure she really could. The next morning, I called my sister Hannah. She worked as a counselor and knew a lot about addiction. I told her everything, how Rachel couldn't stop betting, how she was losing money we didn't have. "It sounds like she's using gambling to cope," Hannah said gently. "After her dad passed away, she never really healed." "What should I do?" I asked. "You need to set clear boundaries," Hannah said. "And she needs help, real help, not just promises to stop." That afternoon, I sat down with Rachel. I called Hannah, I said. Rachel looked up sharply. "You told her?" "I had to," I said. "I'm worried about you." She was silent for a long time. Then she whispered, "I'm scared too." "I think you should see someone," I said. "A counselor. Someone who understands." Her eyes filled with tears again. "Okay," she said finally. "I'll try." Rachel agreed to see a counselor named Marissa. She specialized in gambling addiction. Her office was in a small building downtown. It was warm and smelled like coffee and fresh paper. The first time Rachel went, I waited in the car. I watched people walk past on the sidewalk, wishing I could fix everything for her. After an hour, She came back out. Her face was pale, but there was something different in her eyes. "How did it go?" I asked. "It was hard," she said quietly, "but it felt good to tell someone." Over the next few weeks, she went twice a week. She started keeping a journal about her feelings instead of logging onto the betting sites. But recovery wasn't simple. One night, I came home late from work. The house was too quiet. "Rachel?" I called. No answer. I found her in the bedroom, sitting on the floor with her laptop. She looked up at me, with tears running down her cheeks. "I did it again," she whispered. My heart broke. "How much?" $300, she said, covering her face. "I'm so sorry." I sat down beside her and took her hand. "You slipped, but you're still trying. That matters." "I feel so weak," she sobbed. "I don't want to be like this." "You're not weak," I said firmly. "You're sick, and you're getting help." That night, I put her laptop away in a locked cabinet. She agreed not to have the password until she felt stronger. Slowly, things began to get better. Rachel kept going to counseling. She joined a support group for gambling addiction that met every Wednesday evening. The first time she went, she was so nervous, her hands were shaking. "What if they judge me?" she asked. "They won't," I said. "They're there because they understand." When she came home later that night, she looked calmer than I had seen her in months. "There was a woman there who lost her house," Rachel told me. "Another man lost his job. But they're still fighting to get better." It made me feel less alone. I hugged her. "I'm proud of you." Over time, she started spending her evenings doing other things, cooking new recipes, reading books, going for long walks. Some days were still hard. Some nights she would cry because the urge to bet felt too strong. But little by little, she was learning to let go. One Saturday in early spring, Rachel asked me if I wanted to go out to the park. It was a bright, warm day. The trees were blooming, and kids were flying kites. We walked along the path, hand in hand. It felt almost like the old days, before everything changed. "I'm sorry for everything," Rachel said softly. "You don't have to say sorry," I told her. "I know you never wanted to hurt us." "I still feel ashamed," she admitted. "I know," I said. "But you're not the same person you were 6 months ago. You're stronger now." She looked up at me, her eyes bright in the sunlight. "Thank you for not giving up on me." "I never will," I said. And I meant it. As the weeks passed, Rachel continued to heal. She went to her meetings faithfully and saw her counselor every Thursday. I noticed small changes that gave me hope. She laughed more. She slept through the night instead of staying up with her laptop. She started gardening again, planting tomatoes and daisies in the backyard. But recovery is never a straight line. One evening in June, I came home from work to find Rachel sitting at the kitchen table, staring at her phone. Her hands were shaking. "What's wrong?" I asked. "There was a message," she said. "From that old betting site. They sent me a coupon. Deposit $50 and get 50 free. My stomach twisted. "Did you?" "No," she said quickly. "I didn't do it. But it's like my brain lit up. I felt that old excitement." I sat across from her. "You did the right thing. You didn't give in." "But what if it keeps happening?" she whispered. "What if I'm never free?" I reached for her hand. "You're not alone. You can tell Marissa. You can tell me. Every time you choose not to gamble, you're winning." She took a shaky breath. "I'll call Marissa tomorrow." "That's good," I said. It was a small moment, but an important one. She had faced temptation and chosen differently. Part 8. Summer turned into fall. Rachel kept working on herself, and I kept learning too. I read books about gambling addiction. I talked to Hannah, who helped me understand the patterns and triggers. I learned that shame was one of the worst parts of recovery, that people who struggle often feel unworthy of love. So I tried, every day, to show Rachel she was still the woman I loved. One Saturday afternoon, we decided to go out for dinner to celebrate 6 months since she had placed her last bet. We went to a little Italian restaurant with white tablecloths and candles on every table. Over pasta and salad, we talked about the future. "I've been thinking," Rachel said carefully. "Maybe I could train to be a counselor someday, to help other people like me." My heart filled with pride. That would be amazing. "I know I have a long way to go," she said, "but maybe my story could mean something." "It already does," I told her. "It means a lot to me." She smiled, and in that moment, she looked like the woman I'd fallen in love with. Strong, hopeful, and alive. That winter, Rachel finished her counseling program and received a certificate of completion. On the day she graduated, I bought her a small silver bracelet. On the inside, it was engraved, "One day at a time." When she opened the box, her eyes filled with tears. "I don't deserve you," she whispered. "You deserve everything good," I said. "I'm so proud of you." We hugged for a long time. That night, as we sat on the couch, Rachel took my hand. "Do you think people can really change?" she asked. "I do," I said, "because I've watched you do it." She nodded slowly, and for the first time in a long time, I felt sure we were going to be okay. The new year began quietly. Snow covered the yard, and the air was cold and still. One evening in January, Rachel and I sat together in the living room. The fireplace crackled softly. She was holding her journal in her lap. She had been writing in it almost every day since she started counseling. "Can I read you something?" she asked. "Of course," I said. She flipped to the last page and took a deep breath. "I used to think my life was ruined because of what I did. I thought I would never be forgiven. But every day I chose not to go back to that world, I learned something new about myself. I learned that I am more than my mistakes. I learned that love can survive even the hardest times. And I learned that healing isn't about being perfect. It's about trying again." When she finished, she looked up, her eyes shining with tears. I felt something deep in my chest, something like hope. "You're incredible," I whispered. "No," she said softly. "I'm just human." "But you're my human," I told her, and she smiled. That spring, Rachel started volunteering at a community center in town. She helped run a support group for people recovering from gambling addiction. The first night she went, she was so nervous she almost didn't get out of the car. "What if I'm not good enough to help?" she asked. "You don't have to be perfect," I reminded her. "Just be honest. That's enough." She nodded and took a deep breath. When she came home later that night, she looked peaceful. "It felt good," she said, "to sit with people who understand." I could see how much it meant to her, to turn her pain into something that could help someone else. Slowly, she started to rebuild her confidence. One warm evening in June, we sat together on the back porch. The garden was full of flowers she had planted. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. Rachel reached for my hand. "Thank you," she said softly. "For what?" "For believing in me, even when I didn't believe in myself." I squeezed her hand gently. "You're worth believing in." We sat there for a long time, listening to the crickets and the wind in the trees. I knew there would always be challenges ahead, but we were stronger now. Stronger than the addiction, stronger than the shame, stronger together. And as the stars came out, I felt certain of one thing. No matter what happened, we would keep trying. One day at a time,